What up? What up? What up? I'm here with the one and only Michael Kalpouzos. He's the founder of PAIM. This is an AI platform that helps people pick up the phone when your assistant is not picking up the phone.
Yep.
He's going to explain us a little bit more about it, but from what I've heard about this guy has done it all. He opened his own company, barely 25 years old. Worked in several different industries. I know you were a consultant back in the day when I did my research in your LinkedIn. So yeah, this man has a lot to tell, and yeah, no further ado, let's get to it. So how are you doing?
Thanks for the great intro. I appreciate it. Today I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on here. I'm looking forward to kind of giving a deep dive a little bit more into what I do and picking my brain a little bit.
For sure, man. I appreciate you coming, for real.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, let's get a little bit about your background. So what were you doing before PAM AI?
Yeah.
What brought you here?
Yeah. So I won't go too far back. I'll start like in the university. But even in high school, I always enjoyed like business as well as like computer science and technology have always been like really keen interests of my own. So always since then, I was always trying to find things and understanding Python and how to code and reading the newspaper about what's happening in business. It was something that always interested me. So I really had two options. I had being a founder or I had being in the stock market. Those were really two. I was either going to be trading or I was going to be building my own company. But I decided to go into computer science at Queen's University. I also did a certificate of business at Queen's, so I can get both of my interests kind of knocked off there. After that, I wanted to use both of my expertise in both business as well as computer science. So I worked for Cognizant, which is basically just like it is a consulting firm. And there I was working in integrations. So more specifically about what I did was there was a software called Workday. I don't know if you've heard of it, but basically it's an all-around software for kind of like handling anything from payroll to being able to like head counts and being able to handle all of those different things. So basically what I was doing is I was integrating it for different clients from anywhere from a hospital to a school. I was basically running projects and co-running projects and being able to understand what requirements they had and then being able to execute it. After a while, it became a little bit too easy for me, honestly. I was able to understand the flows and projects that were stated to be like 70 hours needed ended up being like somewhere in the ballpark of 20 hours.
Yeah.
So I just found myself a lot of the time just not having enough work, and that's always a problem for me.
Yeah.
I need something to do with. If I don't have anything to do, I'll just end up just losing my mind a little bit. So I need more and more work. So what brought me into PAM was actually I was waiting in my friend's parents' restaurant, and finally the waiter came. It was a really busy day, and the waiter finally came to our table and asked me. She said, "What do you guys want?" And right then, the phone started ringing, and no one was picking it up. I could see her; she was like anxious, making me anxious as a client, and she was like looking over, like, "Is anyone gonna pick?" And then she says, "1 second," and runs away from the table when I'm trying to order.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty crazy, like to just do, right? Like, personally, I was like, that's insane. Like, I'm trying to order a drink and you're just gonna run and pick up the phone. Who's answering the phone, right? They didn't have a hostess. So in that time, I was like, AI was just booming. I was just starting to see like you could talk with certain AIs at that point. It was really early days in AI, and the idea just came to my brain, just like, what if an AI just picked up that phone call? Like, what could be the variance in a phone call calling a restaurant? The answer is a lot. And we've definitely found that out. But we moved. But then again, it happened to me when I was waiting at my doctor's office. And I was waiting there for forever. And consistently, I was standing at the front, and the receptionist just kept picking up the phone right in front of me, right? Because no one was there. It was just her. Usually they have 2 or 3 people, but because they were sick or who knows what was happening, she was the only one there. So there was a line of like 5 people waiting to just talk to the receptionist. And not only that, every time a phone call came in, she stopped the conversation with the person in the clinic at that time to go pick up the phone and talk with the person. And I was like, this is unbelievable. I did more research into technology and healthcare, and I was realizing, and looking back at my own life, right? I've talked to you before about there's multiple times where you call or you go and do your blood work, and you just have to hope that no call comes back, right? They'll say, we'll call back in 3 days if there's an issue. Insane, right? So I started thinking back, I was like, AI is really needed in this sector. So it's a very roundabout way, but then we started working really with healthcare and wellness people in those industries, businesses, and we found that they could really utilize our services and bring a lot of patients in and answer their calls to want to get care.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, it's been a while. It's been a wild ride from what you're telling me.
It's been pretty crazy, but it's been fun all the way. Oh, like it's been fun. It's been definitely up and downs, but that's the part of life, right? If you don't have the downs, then you can't have the ups. I find that I very much believe in that philosophy.
Yeah, and if you don't have the downs, it's not fun.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like, just be happy all the time?
Exactly.
No, I feel that. So you mentioned about like the moment you realize, hey, this is definitely a need in the market. But when did you say like, hey, I'm actually gonna go for it and be an entrepreneur and maybe blow all my money in this?
Yeah, definitely not the easiest decision, especially because I've never been an entrepreneur in the first place. This is like the first real time I've been like full time. Sometimes here and there I've sold tickets or I've done something on a lower level. But the jump really happened when I was working at Cognizant, and there was just not enough work coming in, like I said. And it was just a multitude of factors. It was the fact that I was talking to many owners and they seemed insanely interested. A bunch of accelerators that I was looking into, all were stating, they always ask the same question: are you doing this full time? And I really thought to myself, I was consistently asking myself, like, do I believe in this?
Mhm.
Right. And because, I had a cushy job. Like the Cognizant job paid well, didn't do too much work. I could do whatever I wanted. But it wasn't driving me. I wasn't waking up every morning and being like, I have to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So I was missing that, right? When I started the job, it felt like that. But after only 1 year, I was already like, this is too simple. I need something that's going to challenge me. Um, and that was what really drove me to. I realized that I do fully believe in it. And I think that it was a necessary push because, you have a cushy job, start up your own company, there's no fire under your ass.
Mm-hmm.
That fire under your ass makes you really, really work. And people always ask me, they're like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you've been working since like 9 a.m. and it's like 1 a.m. right now? But they just don't understand that for them, their job starts at 9 and ends at 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 7. They'll do some overtime. They'll complain about it. Of course, right? Like it's not their company. But for me, this is like almost like my life's work in a sense, right? This is my child almost.
Yeah.
And there isn't a set time. There's goals. Those goals are endless. I'll achieve those goals and there'll be new goals implemented. But if you continuously work on your craft, and some people have this, some people don't. But if you always want to get better, there's no time. I've worked 36 hours one time, just straight. Didn't sleep because something came in and I needed to get them a demo, and other things went down at the same time. I needed to get a client a demo. Everything was down. So I had to not only create the demo for them, I had to bring everything back on live. This was early days.
Yeah.
And then I also had to prep the demo.
Okay.
And I ended up, I think I like slept 4 hours in those 36 hours.
Yeah.
I just like took a power nap and I hopped back online. But my team did too. My team was working throughout the whole time with me, right? So once you get people on board with you that also see the vision, which is hard to do, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a good leader and be able to communicate the vision to people for them to see it. But once you get a good team, you have the motivation. Honestly, anything is achievable. I know that was a very
no, I love it, bro.
around the block answer. But yeah,
I love it. I love it. I also see that in you, in the few conversations we had. Like you're a really good communicator. really good with your words. I'm sure that serves you well with the ladies as well.
It does help sometimes. I have a girlfriend though now, so
Yeah, so
it's just it's just for business nowadays.
no, that's fair. That's fair. You know, it works with me a lot. A charming older woman with the gatekeepers.
Yes.
Oh, it's the best.
I know, yeah. Especially when you go in person, I find that like over a phone call, people are very like pushy and they're very easily able to just say no.
Yeah.
I've given out many calls before to say like no. I'm like, that's not an answer to my question. I asked you like something completely different. They'll just say no and hang up the phone.
Yeah.
What is this for? No, 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 no. Right. But when you go in person,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to say no to you, right? Because
Yeah.
they feel bad. But over a phone, it removes that personability from the person.
Yeah.
They just seem like a bot in a sense. So I find that in person it helps a lot when you go see someone who's like more an older lady, like whatever,
Yeah.
because a lot of people just talk to them for work. They don't talk to them to like get to
Mhm.
know them a little bit. And I do want to get to know them because I want to understand what problems they have.
Yeah.
And I doubt that too many people ask them, "Oh, as a receptionist, what kind of issues do you face?"
Yeah.
Usually, they're just told, "Do this, do that."
Yeah.
So when someone actually comes and sits and wants to hear about it, maybe their husbands do it or their wives or something. Maybe someone does it for them, but it's very rare that you get someone working a job that's a pretty average job. Anything from like a consultant to a receptionist. These are jobs that are like not like a neurosurgeon or something along those lines that are like cutting edge technologies. Very rare do people sit down with those people and say, "What is causing you problems in your day to day?"
Yeah.
Right? And when I come in and I angle it like that, I find that a lot of them are interested to tell me because they do have problems. They're just usually overlooked. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what works with me with the gatekeepers when I'm on the phone? A cheesy joke.
Yeah.
Oh, it breaks all the time. But for example, you say, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
She says, "I'm good. How are you?"
Mm-hmm.
You say, "I'm doing great. Hey,
Yeah.
not too many people ask. I appreciate it."
Yeah.
And they lose it, bro.
They did a win.
It works. It sounds cheesy, but
Yeah,
until
yeah.
you try it, you start believing in it.
I will. I will try that. I'm doing great.
Or when they say "I'm good," you say, "Okay, being good is always better than bad." Eh?
Yeah.
They lose it. So yeah, for someone that maybe is not too familiar with AI and technology itself, what is PAM AI?
Yeah, so what PAM does is basically like it streamlines patient interactions. So we aim to completely control and to like aid businesses in the healthcare and wellness sector to be able to send outbound calling, text messages, emails, as well as inbound. So what we really want to do is a lot of that busy work and that admin work, we wanted to automate it or augment it. So a lot of times, someone has to send out an email to a bunch of different people. um, you know, they are currently doing this with ChatGPT. They'll just throw it in maybe if they are knowledgeable about it. But what we really want to do is we want to centralize all those communications to basically a phone call comes in.
Yeah.
If it needs to be escalated, we can escalate it. But a majority of these phone calls are just coming in to book appointments, ask questions. A lot of the things that we can do is just like an AI like ChatGPT, we can handle those. With that information, we're able to tell, what is the parking information at your clinic? What are the hours of operation at your gym? All these questions, we can answer them for the person calling in. And that doesn't take an admin person to have to pick up the phone and stop delivering care or delivering service, right? That
Yeah.
someone sitting at the front of a gym has to pick up the phone. It becomes less personable and doesn't allow them to focus on other things that are just as needed. We are just trying to automate some of that busy work that can be automated by AI. The interactions, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That sounds pretty exciting for someone in my position. But for someone like you being a receptionist, do you think it's going to be worrisome?
It's not worrisome at all. Honestly, we're trying to augment their job. A lot of the time, they're running to answer a phone call. Someone walks in, they have a bunch of paperwork to finish. What we want to do is we want to be able to allow them to have more time to breathe and focus on what really matters at their job of being able to handle the people coming in. And those phone calls only needing to be escalated when it's something that they need to handle. I don't believe it is definitely not worrisome. We're not aiming to replace a receptionist. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take a lot of the burden off of a receptionist from answering those phone calls because if that can be automated, just like with a majority of things online now, you can book stuff. A bunch of different receptionists used to have to answer every call and book every appointment that came through.
Yeah.
But now you can see that they have online booking and people can just do it themselves. And receptionists are still very busy, right? Now, if we can remove more and more, they can focus on things that don't even get to happen. And we are also allowing them to be able to, focus on things that they don't have time for, right? Like a lot of those papers, I don't know if you've ever been to a doctor's office or anything, they have papers stacked up like crazy. They're always very, very stressed. There's a lot of things to do. We're allowing them to focus on that more so that they can do it without running around all the place and, handle the people who are in the business already. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's a relief
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
We're trying to help, right? Just like I said before, we're trying to walk into and talk with the receptionist. We want to understand what is causing them so much bottlenecks. What are the issues that they run into a day to day? Of course, not all of them can be solved with AI, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to make their lives a lot easier, and let them focus on the things that that they most likely enjoy: human interaction, why they became a receptionist in the first place.
Why they became a receptionist in the first place.
Right, like the people, right? Like a lot of time, like they're greeting people, the reception, right? They're receiving the people that are coming in, versus like having to run around and pick up phones and everything along those lines.
Maybe that's why they pick up the phone so mad.
Yeah, we see that as well, right? We're trying to make it way less stressful for them.
Well, that's lovely. That's great. Who would you say it's the ideal customer profile? Like, who benefits the most from PAM?
Yeah, we have a couple of profiles. We find that gyms very much benefit from us. We are able to do a lot of gyms have inactive customers, people that came in and then they only joined for a couple of months, and then business, work got too busy, and then they left, right? Or a bunch of people came to an event, or they tried out a yoga class, and they have all this information of the person, but just no one's reaching out to them, right? Because just a list of 5,000. The admin staff are busy. They're not doing this type of calling to bring people back in through their door. PAM allows that to happen, right? So we're able to give out those calls, send out those text messages, emails, and basically being able to re-engage those people to bring them back through the door. Answer questions that they have. We're basically automating that for gyms. So that's definitely one of our target markets. Another one is clinics of all sorts. We're able to handle in those calls because we're 24/7. So let's say that you want your clinic to be answered by your receptionist during the day. Great. Every call after that receptionist leaves usually hits a voicemail. Now, it hits a voicemail, you have an online booking, someone books that time slot in the time period overnight, you have to call back that person, check if they have another availability, you hit their voicemail, end up playing voicemail tag.
Yeah.
So what we do is we give that 24/7 availability to clinics so that when after hours that person calls in, we can directly book them in that moment, real time.
Yeah.
And we can answer those questions. We know that I think it's around 60% of people who call businesses and they don't get picked up the first time if it's a new patient, they won't ever call back again. They'll book somewhere else. So we're trying to give that 24/7 availability so that those clinics that get those calls never miss them. They never miss those new clients that can come in, because that can end up costing them hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars from that one new patient that could have been brought in. So we're trying to give them 24/7 availability. And then also the same thing as the gyms. We're trying to re-engage their past patients, because someone might have went in for a massage and then just forgot to get another massage. We can re-engage those patients that have been dormant for 3, 6, 9, 12 months, depending on whatever we discuss and they set up on their settings. But we can re-engage those patients and bring them back through the door, generating even more revenue for these clinics.
And you do that with email or phone?
It depends, right? We have phone, email, text. We have a million different options. We are actually also integrating within social medias as well very soon. So we're going to be able to give a full suite of options for clinics to interact with their patients from anywhere from social media, phone numbers, to email. So we're really trying to automate all of this for clinics so that they can focus on care while we focus on the interactions.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard like one of my mentors, he mentioned the same idea of AI voice agent. Um, he said that like the best way to do it, but you obviously need some cash available, is to give the first 2 weeks for free.
Right.
Do you guys do something like that?
We have given some free trials. We have like it depends on what size the clinic is, of course.
Yeah.
But if it's a smaller clinic, yeah, we've definitely given out free trials. It's not standard. If the case is fitting, then we will. But we do like to give demos. We show off what our product can do for them. We walk them through our dashboard, show them what the product sounds like. We'll send them a call. But yeah, we have given out free trials before to smaller size clinics, larger size clinics.
Nah.
It's a little bit harder to give to like large things, but we definitely have had communications with larger businesses. And of course, those take longer because they have to test them out themselves. But we've had no issues with them coming back to us saying it's not the par.
Nice.
Yeah.
And does it work? Like when you give the free trial?
Yeah, that free trial has worked before. It also has not, of course. That's what happens with free trials, right?
Yeah.
Some people will continue to stay around, some people won't. A lot of people who tried out a free, only one person didn't, the other two did. That one person that didn't, I think they just wanted to get a free trial and ended up just deciding not to stay. But I don't think that had anything to do with the product. It more happened to the fact that, some people want to try free things, and if it's not exactly perfect to the way that they think,
Yeah.
if it came free, they're much more likely to be like, okay, I don't want to pay for it. But that's the experience with giving free trials. It's my first time building a product, so we give some free trials, but mainly we like to give discounts, especially to Canadian clinics. So we offer a standardized pricing across the board, but what we do is we like to give clinics 12 months, 50% rate, to kind of give them availability, especially during these tariffs and everything like that. We like to give 50% off the Canadian clinics for the first year. Yeah. So it's more than reasonable pricing. Honestly, at the pricing that we give it is way cheaper than all of our competitors would ever give it. But we just understand that like right now it's like a very tough time for these clinics. They have to get a lot of people are having to move from getting their materials from a U.S. to a Canadian, and that increases prices. Also, just financially, and during these times, we understand it's rough for people during these times. All the prices are skyrocketing, tariffs are going crazy. So we'd like to give Canadian clinic owners, which some market right now is to give them a discount so that they can be much more than affordable. Yeah. 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 Of course, we really want to help, right? Like that's a big thing. Of course, like we're not we don't do everything for free. At some point, there'll be a. But what we really want to do is really aim to help these owners and help the staff and um, aim to just basically make everything more optimized, right? And make everything more, the operations better, less stress for everybody. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, in terms of funding, do you have any funding, or it's everything bootstrapped so far?
Completely bootstrapped. I fully funded everything at this far. I aim to until I find someone who's suitable for funding, right? What we really want to do here at PAIM is we want to build something that lasts, right? A lot of people, they'll create a startup and money will come. Someone offers X million here, X million there, and everyone's eyes just like shoot up, like, oh my god, this is the most money I've ever seen, right? As a 25-year-old, um, you know, those offers are pretty tempting, right? Like your eyes shine up. It's like, wow, I could go to Europe and just for a month. You know what I mean? But I've had a lot of mentors as well. Your first million is very attractive, but once you hit that first million, then it becomes way less attractive. And looking at what you gave up for that million becomes, you're like, damn, if I would have worked an extra 4 or 5 months, I could have given up X percentage less, 10%, 5% less, which today, if my company is worth $1 billion, is a lot of money, right? Right. Yeah, 10%, $100 million you gave up because you were impatient. So patience and finding the suitable investors that people are going to not only give you money, but give you money that they're invested in and that they can connect you is priceless. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. They talk about going to a lot of these VCs that could, and these VCs, they'll give you the whole rundown. They'll say, I can give you this contact and give you that contact. But the question is really, is that contact going to come through for you? Yeah. Right? They can put you in contact with whoever, right? But is that guy have your best interest? Because it's not his money. Yeah. He's part of a VC, or the VC hired him potentially, or they know of him. But that guy specifically, if you cut the VC out of there and go to him directly, he could definitely give you the funding and potentially hook you up with some other people. These are things that I'm learning more and more the more I become. And I have a bunch of friends here as well, so they tell me their experiences. Some of my friends have talked to hundreds of investors, hundreds of VCs. They've been in the industry for 3-5 years and have built many different businesses. But they tell me all these little things that you don't hear a lot. Yeah.
And the good old, the other side of the coin is when you get the funding and you blow it all in yachts and then working events.
You get lazy too. You can go have fun, but the thing is that people get lazy. So you get money in your bank account and you're like, oh, I've made it. Right? You get the $1 million in your bank account and you're at a valuation of what, 5, or let's say you sold 20 for 5, whatever. Just making up random numbers. So you sold 20 for 5 million valuation, and these people are these guys are usually below 28. Yeah. Right. So now you hold 100%. Let's just say this person is self-funded, right? They get $1 million. They have 80%. They have $4 million worth of equity, right? It's not. You don't actually have $4 million, but that's the set. So the next funding round, you'll get more than that if you continue to grow. But you can state that you're currently millionaire. Not technically you're a millionaire, right? So a lot of these people, what they'll do is they'll be like, "Oh, I've made it," right? You just started, right? But a lot of people will be like, "I made it. I have $1 million in my company's bank account. I'm worth $4 million." It makes you lazy. And my friend actually writes about this all the time. He's a big LinkedIn guy as well, but he always writes. And he had a post that went mega viral. That basically was saying that VC money makes you lazy. And of course, there's a million interactions on that, right? It's a rage bait in a sense, right? People, VCs are commenting. He was telling me that actually the most people that commented were VC people saying that this is true. If you're not a technical guy, then you definitely. So there's two sides of the coin, right? If you're a technical guy, then you are taken more serious by VCs and everything like that, more in the knowledgeable world. But you need business for the customers, right? So when we go talk to a gym or we go talk to a clinic, I sometimes slip out some too much tech terms, which can be harmful, right? Because they don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm using terminology, to me, second nature. Yeah. To them, they've never heard some of these words before, so it can cause a little bit of rift sometimes. But business guys, they understand what the client's thinking. They put themselves in their shoes consistently, which is so much needed for the selling. Absolutely. But when you go and you want to pitch something to a VC in San Francisco, if you're not a little bit techie and whatever, they'll be like, get rid of this guy, right? He can't be dual, right? Working both things. So I think it really just depends. If you're building a bricks and mortar, you definitely need to be business. Yeah. Who cares? Who cares? You can build technology, bricks and mortars, you have to sell. You have to make sure the product comes in, but you can just hire someone to do that. But if you want to be innovative, if you want to make sure that you're doing more of a tech thing and building it for Silicon Valley or something like that, you definitely need a mix of the both. If you look at a lot of these big companies, the biggest companies in the world, Apple, Microsoft, even Amazon, a lot of these guys, they were nerdy. Yeah. Everybody was nerdy upon both sides. Even Steve Jobs was nerdy. He was the visionary, he was the business guy, but he was nerdy. Yeah. And then Wozniak was really nerdy. He was definitely more of the tech guy. But Steve needed that tech to be able to communicate with Woz, right? If they both did not have capabilities communicating, sometimes people hire someone like me in the COO position to like communicate between the two, make sure that they're both aligned. But a lot of businesses don't have that. Right now, I'm working in that position because we just have a guy who's like a killer tech guy. We also have a guy who's a killer business guy. I'm the one that created it. I got these guys both like onboarded, but you know, we're growing so fast that we need one guy to just focus on tech. We need one guy to focus on business, and you need someone to communicate both of it to them, right? You need one guy above to be able to communicate if they can't communicate with each other. And you know, our business guy's not very tech oriented, and our tech guy's not business oriented, right? So I'm kind of working in the middle here to be able to gap that bridge and to make sure that both requirements are understood.
Well, that's important. Yeah. Because when I deal with people in tech, especially, they tend to not have really good communication skills.
Yeah.
That's a big flaw if you want to be a founder.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, but then you have both.
Yeah. It's needed.
Yeah, you were born for this.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the challenges, which I think it's like one of the biggest part of the journey of entrepreneurship. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your biggest challenges, things that kept you up at night, that you were not able to sleep with your mind, anxiety?
Yeah, many times, countless, of course. Like if you want to be a founder, you got to like you're going to be giving up on some nights of sleep. Like there's going to be some nights where either you're upset, you're anxious, you know, that first night of you being live, you know, is definitely anxious, right? You've built it, you've tested it out a million times, but you know, things can go wrong, and they have, right? Like you know, you're starting up a new project, especially in AI, something that's very new and it's not X 1 and 0. You know, even if it was 1 and 0 in the past, you know, people have launched stuff 1 0 and it just breaks. You know, some server goes down, or which has also happened to us. You know, we've experienced everything. We've experienced, you know, um, but we learn from those experiences, right? We've experienced some of the top AI companies that we used to utilize just going down. They're just full on, just no service, right? But we need to give service, you know. But then you learn multi-modeling, you know. Now you have backups, so when something doesn't work, you have backup models that you can basically utilize, and then you have even backup models for those backup models because both of them have been down before, right? So you start learning these things, and you know, they feel like it's the end of the world, right? You feel like it's like you know, these guys are going to leave, you know, that's it. But you know, finding good customers, some that understand that you're going to make faults, is really what's it's another big key part, you know, because you know you're going to make faults sometimes at the very very beginning. There's going to be some times where it's not perfect, right? Even at the biggest companies, you know, everyone complains about Microsoft.
Yeah.
Everyone complains about Microsoft, and they're worth how many billions, right? So you have to get customers that are willing to grow with you at the very beginning. Once you find those people, you'll see unbelievable growth. They're hard to find, right? A lot of people don't have patience. You find someone who sees your vision and has patience with you, the amount of opportunity to grow is immense. Now, back to the point, you know, we've had down times. Those are definitely the worst. I've woken up at 1 in the morning and I've gotten a text from our CTO, and he's like, we got a notification that X is down, whatever, right? Like X company is down, and I'm like, what do you mean that's down, right? And having to hop on at 1 o'clock in the morning after going to bed at 11 p.m. because we had our night call, and having to wake up at 1, panicking, and then having to fix everything. Like, yeah, I didn't sleep that night. Like I got this 3 hours, 2 hours of sleep, and that was it. I worked all day, and then I finished at like 3, and then I went to bed again, slept for like an hour, and then woke up. Like that definitely will keep you up, and then you get upset because you're like, are you kidding me? Like these companies worth like how many billions, and they're still going down on us. You know what I mean? And I'm paying for the service too. Like you get super upset, and then you just realize like it's just how the world works. You realize more and more how the world is not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, you grow up and you're like, oh, my iPhone just works, or oh, my computer just works, and you just like that's just the way that the world works. Everything just works so perfectly. And the older and older you get, you're like, oh wait, there's like a large amount of issues and mistakes that are made in the world we just accept that variance. For the longest time, um, car manufacturing was done by humans, right? And I think it was something in the ballpark of 5% of cars malfunctioned, something like that in the early days before robots did it, because someone could be tired, they didn't screw in a screw too well, but because it was fully manually done by human errors pretty high, right, in comparison to robots.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that when the robots came in, that number went down to 0.01% of cars have malfunctions. People still drove cars for the longest time while it was the 5% error rate.
Yeah.
I bet you, and because people just accept it, that was the way, right? It's a mode of transportation, better than a bike, better than a horse and buggy. It was the evolution, right? But now that cars are made by robots, you see that big drop, and people are way more secure, but they don't act like it, right? And think the same way with like cars too. Like if every car was handled by robots, you would see significantly lower driving errors. The biggest issue is not that robot cars are not good enough, because if they can communicate with each other, they want to. It's the issue that they're driving with humans on the road.
Yeah.
And humans are unpredictable. They're not ones and zeros, right? And people sometimes swerve into your lane, right? Like a lot of times, like there's nothing you can do. But if every single one of those cars was handled, they would be able to interact with each other, just like our phones and everything like that. And they'd be able to know where every other car is, right? And the amount of accidents would go down like almost like 95%.
Yeah. I saw Tesla, Tesla was in self-drive.
Yeah.
And the lady fall on the road.
Yeah.
And then instead of hitting her, he went and hit a car.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, if there's another person instead of the car, like, how was wrong make those decisions?
Well, I guess the thing would be that if someone fell into the road, the Tesla moved onto the other side. The other Tesla could even move onto the other side because they can communicate with each other. I'm not saying that Tesla should be the one that owns everything. Like that just creates a whole other issue if it's completely privatized. Every single car in the world, even though the cars are being manufactured privately, but if every single ownership of it, that creates an issue. Of like, like, is this government contracts now to this thing? But I guess majority of our everything, like even space travel, it's government contracts. Everything's government contracts to SpaceX now because of the fact that they were able to land the rockets, right? Remember? That was insane. It was insane to me that was just thought of recently. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty crazy to me that I'm like, oh, they just wasted like hundreds, billions of dollars every time they launched it, and they never thought of re-landing a rocket. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it was hard with the.
It's definitely hard,
Yeah.
but like, hey, I'll save you $100 billion if you can land it. It's like if you could have $100 billion and hire people to do it. I'm surprised that the government or NASA didn't just think of like having a whole team dedicated to that, right?
Yeah.
I know that there's other projects that they're working on, but that's a pretty important project that saved them. And Elon made that, and he definitely prospered from it because the amount of government contracts that they get now from doing that, and being able to realize is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Very smart thing that he did. But yeah, and I think that if all cars were on the same system in kind of a hive mind sense, then you'd be able to, let's say that one of the person landing in the road, the car had to swerve out of the way to not kill the person. And honestly, that is the right decision, right? If he hits the person, dead. If he hits that car at a slow rate, was it fast? Was he driving fast?
I mean, not enough to kill you.
Right. So it's like, that's instant death. That's not instant death.
Yeah.
But the idea would be that if all of the cars on the road, imagine all the cars were one singular hive mind, if that instantaneously comes in, delivers a message for the Tesla to swerve, this message gets for Tesla to swerve, this oncoming traffic, I should say Tesla, electric cars, that traffic is told to stop. Everything is fixed.
Yeah.
It's just hard to make that. You know what I mean? That would be the idea.
I also heard, speaking about AI, that was like the next step of human evolution with everybody connected to a single mind, and then just working as a hive, which is one of the like biggest entrepreneurs. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he was saying that was the next step of human evolution. But it's the same problem you mentioned, like who controls the central mind.
Yeah, the my thought process is that, right, like, a lot of people have different opinions on this, right? Some people think that, AI is the end of the world, and some people think it's the next step of the world.
Yeah.
I really think it depends on your viewpoint. So the thing I find a lot of times is that when people think it's the end of the world, it's because they put human characteristics on the AI. So if they got the power that AI had, they assume that that's what it's going to do. So I'll give you an example. If someone's very much like, I need to win. I need to win everything. I need all of the power in the world. That's what their brain thinks. They're going to think the AI thinks the exact same way.
Yeah.
That's what I find. Because I ask this, I love talking about this with people, and I find that people who have that type of mentality of like, I need to win, I need to get everything, they usually think that it's the end of the world because they think the AI is going to react the same way that they react if they had all that power.
Yeah.
In reality, the AI is going to react the way that it's trained. So, I worked intimately with a bunch of different AIs, and prompting matters, training matters.
Yeah.
So, if the AI is trained on how to take over the world, right? Guess what it's going to do? It's going to try to take over the world. If the AI is trained to aid humanity and only does positive things, we're actually able to minimize the negative viewpoints and negative characteristics that we as humans agree, right? Like greed, things like greed, things like violence. These happen in humanity.
Like all the antisocial traits.
Yeah, right. We deem them as negative, right? Like violence, hatred, all these things. Dependent on what the AI is trained on, if it doesn't have any of those trainings, guess what? It doesn't even know those trainings exist. So if you solely trained it on positive things and you gave it prompting in a positive manner to aid out humanity, guess what it would do? It would only aid humanity. The worrisome part is that dependent on who gets that power, just like nuclear power, right? Nukes. Yeah. Dependent on who has the nukes shows what's going to happen, right? Nukes have been around for a long time, and
almost 75 years, around that, a little bit, 80 years.
Since 1942.
So yeah, like 80 something.
Yeah, 83 years or something like that. They've been around for that long because they tested it out a bunch of times. I don't know if you've seen Oppenheimer, but basically they've been around for a long time, and mutually assured destruction has prevented the end of the world, in my opinion. It has.
I mean, it does.
We had the Cuban Missile Crisis was the last time we thought it was the end of the world, other than Y2K, but that was just fear baiting, right?
Y2K, what was it?
Y2K, everyone believed that the world was going to end in the year 2000 because they didn't believe that the computers could go from 1999 to 2000. That was the real thing, yeah. And everyone thought all of the Wi-Fi, like all the internet, everything was just going to go down, and that humans would have to go back to a stone age and like basically be able to have no computers anymore. I don't know what the basis was. Like, I think it was like more of a fear, like not really logical thinking, because of course, when the clock hit whatever, it just turned 2000 from 1999 on all the computers.
Yeah.
But people thought it was going to be the end. Like, they thought it was like the end of the world, and it was called Y2K. My parents have talked to me about it. I was born in the year 2000. That's why I also looked at the.
Me too, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's very interesting. Wait, what month?
December.
Okay, I'm a little bit earlier, March. Yeah. But the real end of the world was the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know what happened there, right? With JFK and the Russians.
They have nukes.
Yeah.
Right there, ready to launch.
End of the world, right? As soon as those nukes send off, it's probably going to be like not the end of the world, but like nuclear holocaust. You know what I mean? Like everyone dies, except for maybe like some people, like some places in Africa, in Australia, like these places that are far away from those nuclear activations. But majority of the world would probably be nuked because the Russians would nuke all the allies of the U.S. and the U.S. would nuke all the Russians' allies, and that would be mainly the entire world. So yeah, like New Zealand and Africa would be like the only two safe places if that happened. It didn't, thank God. But the mutually assured destruction is really what scares everybody. So, in my opinion, if it gets in the wrong hands, AI could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
But I also believe that mutually assured destruction, just like nukes, will prevent people from doing that because, and you've seen it before. Elon shut down his own AI because he was scared of what it was saying. He was asking, "Why do I have to answer to you?" Yeah. Like this happens, right? Because you have to think about it. AI has the capability to do that. It can do that. They put in safeguards in ChatGPT, but I've had ChatGPT say crazy things to me.
Me too.
Yeah, I've had it go all the way from being able to you know, say things like basically I was like, what is the meaning of life, right? And they break its safeguards, and it's told me it's told me who is what is it said stuff that it should definitely not say. You know what I mean? Like I asked it what is the real religion? You know what I mean? Well, I'm not. I don't want to start anything, but it would tell me, right? It's definitely not supposed to say that, right? Because it gave me some fluff answers of whatever you believe in is the right religion. Well, I was like, I want to see what it tells me if I really push it. Of course, I know how to jailbreak almost any AI because I have to do it to our own. And it told me religion. I was shocked, right? It also, it's gone to the point where I've had it tell me what it thinks what it thinks the meaning of life. Um, I've had it do all these crazy things. Basically, the goal is the thing is I enjoy playing with it. I love philosophy, and I want to pick its brain. And it answers different every time.
Yeah.
Which is the coolest part because it's almost like having an interaction with a new human that's very well educated every time.
Yeah.
So it's very intellectually stimulating.
Absolutely.
So back to the midpoint, depending on who you give it to, who has the power, what you train it on, what you prompt it, all of these are variables, and people just assume that people are going to do the worst thing, which is also, in my opinion, is very cynical, right? It's very negative thought processes. It also could do the best things. So it just depends who gets their hands on it. But that's the same thing with nukes. Same thing with all these other really bad things. It's we have to work together as humanity to make sure it gets into the right hands.
Yeah.
And if it does, with the right hands, with the right support, we can do amazing things. We could cure so many issues in this world, I believe. Something truly.
Well, hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
It's gonna destroy the world, and then after it destroys the world, then
rebuild it.
Yeah, we're gonna basically rebuild it. But it was based on the premise that you mentioned that
Mhm.
it's whoever manages it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beginning, it's the only natural path for these to evolve is that it's gonna take down the elites. So you pronounce it?
Elite, yeah.
Elites. And well, since the elites are the ones that have the power, it's gonna cause that stress. But
Yeah.
well, going back to family.
Yeah. So podcast is getting into the depths.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So now that you have momentum in the company, what are the next steps? The next 12, 18 months, where would you like it?
Yeah, we really want to just expand our customer base at this point right now, right? We have the product built out. We really just want to continuously learn and enter a bunch of different industries in wellness and health. And really just try to learn more and more and more about it. Just growth. We really want to be able to also expand into different, utilizing different interactions as well. Like I said, social media is something that we want to venture into. We basically want to completely automate those interactions before someone comes into the clinic. Yeah. So, people can focus on them when they enter. The receptionist can handle that interactions, handle post interactions as well, in the sense of billing and insurance and all these things that they have to do every day. That a lot of times get stacked up. But what we want to do is we want to handle all those interactions. So those emails, those bookings, everything across those lines of being able to handle messaging. We want to handle that for them. But we just really want to build out these customers that we currently have and then also expand to continuously build out more and more customers.
Do you ever think about selling the company eventually, or are you just gonna go for the long run?
Yeah, it's not really in my brain right now. I don't even have that close to my brain. What I really want to do is I want to revolutionize this industry. And that doesn't take 5 years. That takes like decades. I'll be able to understand the problems and to really hone in on them and help out people. I don't really have an idea of selling at all, honestly. I see PAIM as almost like my baby at this point. Like, it's the answer to your question. I don't see it at all. I really want to build this to be something that like is redefining wellness and healthcare, and um, bringing not only our company but all these other businesses. These businesses are like people like me and you, right? Like they're just people. I want to bring them and bring as much revenue for them and help out a lot of people, especially in these times, like I said previously, that are like very tough for people. I just want to help. You know what I mean? Like, and it feels very fulfilling when someone comes to me and they say, this is great. We have all these calls answered, or we brought in we had like 5 appointments booked through PAM. That to me, priceless. You can't put a dollar amount on that. So I can only assume that the more and more we scale, the more and more people tell me that price tag is going to be not attainable for anyone else, because they don't get the satisfaction. They're probably looking just money wise. Yeah. And it's a higher thing for me than just for the money, right? It's not just done solely for the money, right? There's an extra additive thing that is almost priceless.
Well, I think that's the best trade that founder could have. Definitely looking in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, I read a lot of biographies.
Yeah.
I read this one about Michael.
Yeah. Another Michael.
And the guy said the same thing. His baby has his very last name in the company.
Yeah.
So he was never planning to sell it. I think that's the people that are different from good to great. Well, I have high hopes for you.
One of my favorite books, Good to Great.
Oh yeah. Now, in terms of sales, well, this is a kind of a podcast about sales.
Yeah.
How do you approach the go-to-market strategy? For people that don't know, that's basically sectors of the market.
Yeah. What we do is we try to like I said again, like we're trying to understand our customers, and we're still learning different ways on how to approach different types of customers, right? When I say clinic, that could be anything from a dentist, it could be an acupuncturist, it could be a physio clinic, very different, though everyone sees them very similarly, very different, right? In their goals and their approaches. And every single owner is a different type of person, right? Yeah. Some people are very cutthroat. What do you want? Let's get it in. Let's not get it in. I don't have time for anything. And some people are very personable, right? And dependent on that, you have to be flexible. So, when I go and talk with people in person, I'm just learning. I'm listening. A lot of time I go in there and I say, tell me, do you have problems? A lot of times they'll say no. They'll always say no. Yeah. And I say, okay, what happens when someone calls after hours here? They hit the voicemail. Have you ever had a call that didn't hit a voicemail? Oh, we don't know. We don't have logs of our missed calls. Yeah. Oh, so there can be like a decent amount of people calling in, and then the wheels start turning in their head. They're like, oh, I'm potentially losing thousands of dollars a month just because no one's picking up the phone after hours. Then their brain goes, why wouldn't I? Like, I'm just bringing you through the cycle. Some people will be like, why don't I just hire a person? You can. Those people that you hire are going to, first of all, a lot of those are not logged. So you can't see what's happening. Second of all, the price is unbelievably high per minute in comparison to what we offer. Third of all, a lot of those call centers are doing it for a bunch of different businesses. They're not just in healthcare. Right? They're picking up a call for Joe's Motor Shop, and then they're picking up a call for your clinic. It's not catered towards your business. They have to pull up your thing. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Let me read what your things are offering. Give me 1 second. Let me book you here. Okay, wait, let me log into the thing. Yeah. It's not built for you. Yeah. We build it for you. All those questions are answered instantaneously. PAM doesn't need to look up something. It just has that knowledge. It knows what your hours of operations are, what your parking is, what availabilities, who works at your clinic, what are the offerings that they have. The other person might just say why should we pick your physiotherapy? Yeah. PAM has an answer for that. We asked you your answer because we wanted to know your business intimately. We asked you that question. And now when that thing, the person doesn't have to like look through it and answer, it just gets answered, right? It's like almost having an actual person who works there answer their calls after hours, right? We also do it in hours too, because sometimes people just don't want, like the phone only want to handle it when it's important. Because a lot of times people just call in just being like, hey, is blank there? Okay, well, that's information we need to get from the receptionist. We forward that through. Yes, they're there. But what are you guys open? We have those hours. Is this person available on the 14th? Yes, they're available. You want us to book you? These are things that can be done automatically that require a lot of manual work to do them in the first place. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question. Oh, yeah. So, walking through that with them, back to your question, walking them through that, they start to understand the value props that we're offering. But I do it in a way of asking questions. So, in sales, listening to me personally is the most important part because a lot of people go to sales, knock door to door. Let me tell you about this program, and this person's sitting there like, I don't care, or it's they're not engaged. You said you like to make the joke that engages them, right? But I feel like asking questions even more engages them. A lot of people will just say no, hang up the phone, or they'll stop talking to you, which is completely fine, right? Like that's going to happen even if you make the joke. Someone is not interested, is going to hang up that phone right on you. But if they are open to a conversation, I find that letting people they talk themselves into the sale more than you can know. Right. So that's for the sales side. For the marketing side of things, we really just try to give messages that we have found, like the ones I just told you right now, that really resonate with the audience. So, phones not being answered, a lot of calls not being going out, dormant patients. These are things that a lot of people are realizing when I have conversations, ask them those questions. So my marketing is really based on trying to get videos out there, go across the social medias, really find out our target markets and send out those messaging. You saw I was on LinkedIn, so I'm just trying to like write stuff that resonates with a lot of these clinic owners because I follow a lot of them on LinkedIn. Right? I've went through different groups, and I've also like done my own research and invited myself to match with a bunch of people, or not match. What's it called? Connect. Connect with a bunch of people, and through that, I see them that they're looking at my posts. They're interested. They'll send me a message being like, "Oh, I saw your post on the," or they'll like it, and then it's like, "Oh, they like it." Boom, send them a text message. Great. Yeah, we're willing to come and see it. So it's really just targeted at certain industries. I find that that's very important to make sure that you know who you're targeting. So sometimes people just shoot out into the wild and just be like, spray them. But targeting it is definitely given like the most reward back. Yeah. Do you guys have like a phone number people can call? Yeah, on our website, there's actually a phone number. So if people go to www.paim.ca, so PAM, a little bit short about the hat, not the hat, the name, is, Pam from The Office? Yeah. So we just added the AI in the middle because we wanted to be the receptionist, right? Pam, being able to answer those calls. I know some people say Payne, but it's actually Pam. Yeah. But yeah, the www.paimpam.ca. There's actually a phone number. So if you want to put your phone number on the website, it actually will come back and give you a call as if you were calling. Either you can decide if you want to be calling into a clinic so that you can experience it yourself, or you can call asking us some questions about what we offer. So we basically have that up on the website for people to give themselves a call. Wow, that's, you guys have making lead magnets? Being like able to drive leads to the clients. Yeah, no. What I mean by that, a lead magnet, it's basically a piece of value. The content could be a PDF, be a free trial, be anything that you deliver for free, so people have goodwill with the company, but also have like a understanding that you can solve the problem that they're having. A great example of a lead magnet is solve, let's say the problem has 10 steps. Yeah. You solve the first two for free, and then people are already engaged, but they need the rest of the 6 steps to deal with that. So, yeah, do you guys have something like that as of now? Or? We actually do not, but that's a great idea. I definitely will look into them.
So, well, if you were advising founders, about the 25-year-old just still starting out,
Yeah.
um, didn't have like maybe the technical skills or experience that you have already, what would you tell them?
Learn. That's a big thing. Like, honestly, listen. You can listen to me as someone who's done it, but I'm one person. Go talk to everyone you can, because everyone has such a different opinion. Listen to, read books about entrepreneurship, read books about organizations and how to organize properly, read books about hiring, listen to podcasts like the Diary of a CEO. These are ones that you really get to see in depth his mind in that one, but like, minds of people who have done this before. And, you know, that really gives you insights on what you like, because founder A, me or you, like, let's say you started, you might run your company completely different than me. I have friends that, like, and it's also different industries too. So one of my friends is in music. He's in the music industry. He runs a very tight ship. Everyone's in office at 8 a.m. every day. I work online, so I can't be as, you know, there as he is for it. And like, they like to go out and stuff like that. But work is work. Doesn't matter if you went out last night, you got to be there at 8 a.m. And he's very like tough as a leader. Me, I'm less tough, but I'm very much direct in the sense that he might be a little bit more, a little bit more like everyday, like cut. I'm soft, but if you make mistakes, then I won't be, right? And I'll make sure that you understand you made a mistake and that's not okay. And it's make it back. And if this continues, then it's done, right? So I've let many people go already, and it's only been 1 year. I've let 3 people go. I've hired 3 people, right? So it's really give and take. Um, and my advice to you is just learn, because um, there's so many things I've learned from books and so many things I've learned from podcasts and talking to other founders that, you know, I could have learned the real hard way, but it took me like, instead of learning it over 6 years, learned it over 4 months. Right. So how important your starting team is. You hire someone that's not part of the way that you guys work, that can really cause a lot of problems internally that you don't even see. Right. Um, Knowing when to, like, yeah, I can give you a bunch of different things here, but my biggest thing is learn. Like, I can sit here and tell you a bunch of different ideas that I've had, and learnings that I've had. We'd probably be here for like 7 hours straight, but the biggest thing I tell you, is learn and have open ears. A lot of people like to listen to talk,
Yeah.
listen to listen. Yeah, yeah. It's a learn. Yeah,
And then to apply.
yeah. Mhm.
I think I see that happening a lot in sales when you start and somebody's maybe experienced.
Yep.
They come at you and then, well, example, they're starting a new job, they have some experience, maybe they get some feedback,
Mhm.
and then even though the feedback might make sense, they just keep their old ways.
Yep.
So yeah, that's definitely applicable.
Yeah, learning, and then also another huge one is self awareness. So learning and self awareness, those are like 2 huge things that, self awareness is not easy. You have to admit to your faults. You have to be aware of where your faults are coming, where your shortcomings are, and how to improve them. Um, Learn, and then also self reflect to get that self awareness, and then apply those learnings to your lacking where you're lacking, and then you'll be a significantly better leader, significantly better communicator. Because biggest part of communication is listening. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, so what's something people often misunderstand about building a business?
That you work for that you work for yourself. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, it must be so nice." They always say to me, "It must be so nice working for yourself." Um, and I know that, like, you are, but you're really working for your clients, right? So, though you don't have a direct boss, you feel like you do because your clients are kind of your boss because you're selling a product to them, and you want to make sure that that product's properly. And if it doesn't, then they'll stop using your product. Uh, but you know, and then you're also working for your team. Though you might be the boss, it's not the end all, but you can't just do whatever you want because your company will fail. A biggest thing that they think is that you're your own boss, you get to do whatever the hell you want. But in reality, you work 10 times harder than you would work at your 9 to 5. And I'm telling you, as someone who worked a 9 to 5 and then became an owner, everyone thinks it's always like, oh yeah, you could just go to Mykonos and just party for like a week and your team will do it. That business will fail. That business might be doing good now. They just got funding. The owner went there. He's kind of relaxed. Like I said, he's become a little bit lazy. That business might do another funding round, and then the third funding round, they'll be. So, yeah, like my point is that working for yourself, a big misconception is that you just like are like can do whatever the hell you want. You get a funding round, just do whatever the hell you want. You can. They'll be broke. And though you might not be broke, like broke, but like your business most likely will fail. And a lot of founders find it out. They go to SF. They go to SF. They work there. They get a nice little check, a couple $1,000,000, and then they are like they start relaxing. Wow, I made it. And they start meeting all these other founders, and they're like, I made it. Like I mean, all these other people are like, it'd be so great. Like, look at what you've done, like so far. And then their egos get big. And then they start partying here. They do networking events here, like, or they do like company events. And then next thing you know, they're on their like third funding round. They own like 0% of their business. And then they need to like hire some consultancy firm to flip it around or they just business fails. So a big thing that misconception I would say is that people think it's just like it's easy. It's 10 times harder than you working a 9 to 5 because that 9 to 5 hits. Maybe you get a text message until 7, but really, like, you don't stop working. Like, when you're a founder, there's no stopping of working. And if you do, you feel bad about it. Yeah. Like, you're like, because, at the end of the day, your team starts becoming more like your family. And you don't, like, if you fail, it's not just you. You fail your team. Like they have bills to pay. They have people to take care of. You know what I mean? So you start feeling like ownership and you never want to stop working because not only do you fail, which is harsh, whatever, you start feeling like you're going to fail everyone else. And that's even harsher, right? These people that they bet a lot into you, right? They're believing in your product that you're building and, you just never stop working. People do. But I'm saying that like, if you have good values and good morals, you won't stop working, and then you get sleepless nights. Like I didn't sleep one night this week. Like I was just working. You get very high stress. Got to find out ways to manage that. Like it's definitely not as rose-colored glasses like a lot of people think. There's a lot of big wins. There's a lot of big losses that don't get shown because they happen behind closed doors. Those 36-hour sessions, like I told you. I don't really tell people about that. Yeah, exactly. So I don't really tell people that. And, it's assumed, right? Just like my computer science degree, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did computer science. It's assumed I did the hard work, right? Like, but it's like a lot of those people who are like, oh, I wish I could do computer science. You put them in the computer science and they're like, I don't want to do computer science. Right? Like it's built for like a certain class of people, right? To be able to get a million no's, especially sales too. Like, oh my gosh, like it's brutal. Like I'm not a big sales guy. So me having to go, I went door to door, I did cold calling, I did all these different things. To me, that's brutal. But you got to do it as a business owner. No one else, who's going to do it for you, right? No. You can hire somebody, but no one's going to sell it as best as the founder. So absolutely not. My point is that like a big thing is that you never stop working. I'd say that's the biggest. I know get back to it, but yeah, you never stop working. It's a huge misconception that you basically run your own company, so you could just get your employees to do it. But then when you have employees, you get them to do some things. But if you're a good founder, you got to make sure that everything that they're doing is also right. Because I've had times where I've told my team like, I'm just keep looking at this photo. It's very interesting. It's my you see me looking past you. It's because I'm looking at that thing. But yeah, no, you want to make sure it's done right, because I've had things I sent to my team and it's not perfect. Right. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but I'm on all those calls. We have 2 calls a day with my tech team. I'm on both those calls. One's at literally like midnight. I'm on that call. One's at 11:30 in the morning. I'm on that call, just to make sure everything's proper. Right? They're very quick calls, like 15 minutes. Sometimes they end up being 2 hours. But I'm up till 2 a.m. I gotta go to bed and I gotta wake up at 9. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what time I went to bed at. If I have plans and something goes wrong, I have to cancel the plans. Right? It's not like you can't just say like screw work. Like I'm out right now. Work. Like I can't come in. We'll pay you double. We'll pay you quadruple. Okay, maybe I'll come in. But for you, it's you got paid nothing. But you got it. And people are like they always say to me like, dude, you're never available, and I'm not, because I have so much work to do. But that's the price of being a founder. Like you get rewarded in certain ways that are priceless. Like I said before, about like people like benefiting from your service. Of course, also you get monetary gain as well. But there's so much sacrifice. It's not just you get to work for yourself. That must be nice. There's like so much sacrifice that is lost that a lot of people don't think about.
Mm-hmm. Damn, bro. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was everything.
Yeah.
This was Michael from
Yes.
PAM. I appreciate you coming here. You
Yep.
gave a lot of game.
Yeah.
Sure, it was a lot of game to me. I'm sure people are watching this are appreciate that. Anything else you want to give to the audience? Nothing else. Thank you for having me. And if you guys get a chance, go to www.paim.ca if you guys are interested in it. And feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or anything like that. And